Hi, friends. We are on our very last chapter of our Rome unit, chapter 16, the East and West. I am on page 96 in our Rome reader. You can read along with me, or you can just listen to me read. And like I said, this is our very, very last chapter for this unit. The big question for this chapter is, why did the Western Empire collapse, but the Eastern Empire survive for so much longer? Like I said, I'm on page 96. Luciano's last assignment. Luciano glanced ahead in his books. He knew the story of the Roman Empire was nearly over. He felt a little sad because this story was special to him. While studying the Roman Empire, Luciano discovered he liked taking part in class. For his next assignment, the teacher told him to read about the Emperor Constantine and the city of Constantinople. Luciano was curious. He hurried home to begin his studies. Constantine takes control. The next day, the teacher told the class about Constantine. After Diocletian retired, the Roman Empire fell into civil war. In time, a strong leader took control of the empire. His name was Constantine. A key victory in Constantine's rise to power came in 312 CE. At the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, Constantine defeated one of his rivals. Constantine was not yet a Christian, but he claimed the Christian God helped him win the battle. In 313 CE, Constantine made an agreement with Licinius, who then ruled the eastern part of the empire. The two agreed to let Christians practice their religion. Oops. So there's the battle. There's a picture of the battle. Looks pretty crazy. Practice means to live according to the teachings of a religion or other set of ideas. And the two agreed to let Christians practice their religion. So previously, remember in the last chapter, the last couple of chapters, it talked about how Christians were seen as bad because the Romans believed in multiple gods, and they felt like if the Christians didn't believe in their gods, the gods would punish them. And so now, with these new rulers, they're allowing the Christians to practice their own religion. This agreement was called the Edict of Milan. Christians were no longer punished for their beliefs. In fact, Constantine actively supported the Christian religion. He is remembered as the first Christian emperor. Constantine was a strong emperor. He followed Diocletian's example. He named honest people to help him rule. After Constantine ruled the Roman Empire for a while, he moved the government away from Rome. The teacher turned to Luciano. Luciano, where did Constantine move the government? Constantinople. Luciano was prepared. In 324 CE, Constantine began moving the government of the Roman Empire to Byzantium. Byzantium was an old city in the eastern part of the empire. It had a big racetrack like Rome's Circus Maximus. Constantine thought that Byzantium should have a new name. He named the city Constantinople after himself. You won't find Constantinople on maps today, Luciano continued. The city's name has changed. Today it's called Istanbul, and it's in the country of Turkey. Thank you, Luciano, said the teacher. You did well. The Byzantine Empire. The teacher continued. Constantine ruled from Constantinople for several years. After his death, there were more civil wars. The western part of the Roman Empire eventually broke away from the eastern part. There were now two empires instead of one. So this is the western part, everything in pink right here. Here's Italy, remember our boot, and here's Rome right there. The Eastern Empire included Constantinople. Because the city was once called Byzantium, the empire was called the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire became powerful and lasted for more than 1,000 years. Constantinople became one of the most important cities in the world. It attracted traders and travelers from Asia, Africa, and Europe. Byzantine philosophers talked about the important ideas. Artists blended Greek, Roman, and Middle Eastern styles to create beautiful mosaics and other works of art. The Eastern Empire was ruled by a series of emperors. Justinian was one of its most famous emperors. In Constantinople, Justinian built a beautiful Christian church called Hagia Sophia. Although Justinian ruled the Eastern Empire far from Rome, he knew the Romans had built his empire. The empire was governed by Roman laws. Justinian had these Roman laws written down. This collection of laws was known as the Justinian Code. The Western Empire. The teacher continued. The Western Empire was not as strong as the Eastern Empire. By the time Justinian became emperor in the East, the Western Empire had collapsed. How did this happen? The Western Empire was less wealthy than the Eastern Empire. It was also surrounded by warlike neighbors. Barbarians often attacked the borders of the Western Empire. Over time, these barbarians took over more and more Roman land. The armies of the Western Empire could not stop them. Eventually, the barbarians sacked the city of Rome. To sack means to steal and to destroy things in a city that has been defeated by an army. The Western Empire kept fighting the barbarians for another 60 years. Finally, in 476 CE, the emperor of the Western Empire surrendered to a barbarian leader. The Western Empire had fallen. This event is called the Fall of Rome. I want you to keep in mind the date. It says finally in 476 CE, the Western Empire fell. This is called the Fall of Rome. If you go into your workbook, in the very, very front cover, I glued a timeline into all of your workbooks. And so you can see on there the fall of Rome. And I, hint, hint, can promise you that that's going to be a question on your test. So make sure you keep that in mind. We have reached the end of our exploration of ancient Rome, said the teacher. We should thank Luciano for helping us to know and understand the Romans. Thank you, Luciano. We are proud of you. And that, my friends, is the end of our Rome reader. So make sure you finish the fall page. So you're going to read it, or you can listen to me read it. In my last video on page 43, you're going to list 3 reasons why Rome fell. And then you have this vocabulary page to do for chapters 15 and 16. This one you just fill in the blanks or answer the questions at the end. And then make sure you get all of your reports done. So the Fall of Rome is your most recent one. And I said in the last video, this part at the end, you are getting graded on neatness. So make sure you're writing in your best handwriting. You have capital letters at the beginning of sentences. You're checking your spelling. You have punctuation. And then also make sure that we can tell what your pictures look like and that they're colored. So you have all of these book reports to do. And that is it, my friends. I'm so glad that we got to finish this unit. I've had so much fun teaching it to you. This is one of my favorite history units ever. I think it's super interesting, and I'm glad that you guys have been enjoying it. Please let me or Miss Johnson know if you have any questions about any of the pages. Make sure you have all of these done. Some of them we did together, but make sure you get all of these pages back from the beginning, the very beginning of the book done. And like I said, if you have any questions at all, please email Miss Johnson or I. The only page that you don't need to fill out that we skipped, let me go down, is this page, activity page 12.1, Androcles and the Lion on page 32. We skipped this page, so this is the only page that does not have to be done. But everything else, and you should be pretty much done if you've been working as I work. But yeah, that's it, friends. I hope you enjoyed this unit as much as I did.